current General Secretary Technical Affairs. I invite you all to the SoapBox for General Secretary Technical Affairs for the tenure 2026-2027. Me along with Rajvardhan and Bhakti would be moderating this SoapBox. And so the flow will go as follows. We'll be starting with the opening statement. Each of the candidates will have 3 minutes to give their opening statement. Then we will go on with the manifesto debate. This can go for a maximum of 30 minutes. Each of the candidate can ask the opposing candidate a maximum of 3 questions and a maximum of 5 rebuttals for each of the questions. In the third section of this soapbox, we will go with topic debate. So both the candidates have been assigned some topics. We will be picking 1 or 2 topics, and this section will go on for a maximum of 20 minutes. This will be a debate between both the candidates, and after this we will be having a background check of both the candidates on whatever work they have done in their past year for the tech community. In the last part, which is the Q&A part, inside would be asking their questions to the candidates, and finally we would go on to the audience questions, and this would end the official questioning part of SoapBox, and after that we will have closing statement of both the candidates, again maximum of 3 minutes per candidate. So we will start with the opening statement. Who wants to go first? Suresh, you may start.
A very warm welcome to all present in this gathering. Hope you all are in good health. Myself, Shresh Keshi, a third year undergrad from Mechanical Engineering Department, and I am contesting for the position of General Secretary Technical Affairs. From getting recruited in Team AUVITV in the electrical subdivision, and now being the industrial outreach head, then serving as a convener in WNCC, and later getting elected as system administrator in Hostel 5 Council, to competing in Inter-IT Tech Meet, and also being a researcher with the Indian Army for sustainable heating. I have witnessed the technical culture of this institute from all verticals. My motivation for the General Secretary position is rooted in the fact that I have been constantly engaged in the 4 verticals in Institute Tech, which are ITC clubs, tech teams, Inter-IT Tech, and hostel tech activities. Having experienced these activities firsthand gives me unique perspectives and insight that would prove to be very useful in upcoming GSTA tenure. IIT Bombay is synonymous with technical excellence. In people's minds, we are the gold standard. We have the highest density of intellect in India, yet our innovators are thriving in constraints. We have a campus teeming with brilliant research, yet our undergraduates and postgraduates operate in completely different worlds. I strongly believe that the Institute Tech culture needs a significant shift in perspective. We are looking at what is probably the greatest opportunity for us to shift gears and bring out the best results in any and all competitions targeted by Institute students. I envision my tenure to be one where research, exploration, and professional skill development take the center stage. With the on-ground tech experience, I believe that I am uniquely positioned to take up the responsibilities of the General Secretary Technical Affairs, as I am determined to bring an impact through my initiatives. I aim to foster a tech culture that truly thrives. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh. Viraditya, you can start with your opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. I am Viraditya, a third year student in the Energy Science and Engineering Department, contesting for the post of General Secretary Technical Affairs. Institute Tech has been an integral part of my college life, from being a convener at the Rebel Coding Club to being a junior software engineer at Exofly, a volunteer at the Energy Club, and a part of the core team of Inter-IT Tech Meet 14.0, and finally, the Institute Rebel Coding Secretary. Working across these roles has given me a clear understanding of what makes Institute a tech thrive, and what helps students and teams perform at their best. Let me say this clearly, tech culture isn't built by a few smart people, it's built when everyone feels they belong. Not just beginners, everyone. Students exploring for the first time, teams building serious systems, researchers pushing depth, and communities that keep people learning consistently. This year, I was deeply involved in IIT, and one thing became very clear. We do have the talent, and we can raise our performance even further. When we combine talent with the right structure, preparation, coordination, and strong presentation, the results will change and we will dominate. And while we push excellence, we should also build an institute culture where people feel supported. Recent days remind us that students can be carrying a lot silently. As one of the Institute Tech senior leaders, I want to be approachable, present, and dependable, and strengthen mentorship and support networks so reaching out feels normal and easy. I want Institute Tech to be more accessible, more outcome-driven, and more sustainable by building systems that students and tech teams can actually feel throughout the year. I want an IITB where a student or a tech team can smoothly from interest to execution with access to the right resources, clear pathways to build, and predictable support. That means making computational and technical resources easier to use at scale and making processes streamlined so teams spend more time building, not navigating. I also want a project ecosystem to feel connected where learning naturally leads into projects, lead into deeper work, and strongly work continues forward. And for Inter-IT, I want us to treat it like what it is, the Institute technical output on display. We already have talent, the difference between participation and medal is process. Better preparation, stronger coordination, and especially better presentation and delivery, because great work deserves great delivery. Across all of this, my promise is simple, transparent execution and visible outcomes. Systems that scale ambition and results students can see. Let's build an IT where Institute Tech becomes the default, stronger to build in, stronger to compete with, and stronger to grow through. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya. We'll be starting with the second section, which is manifesto debate. Veeraditya, you can ask your first question to Suresh. Please keep your question very limited to one particular manifesto point and don't go beyond it. Thank you.
Okay, so my first question is on your point, maintain a consolidated record of students involved in technical activities, enabling effective recruitment and upcoming inter-IT technique. Isn't this literally what the inter-IT core team does right now? We do databasing and find people who are good in different technical domains. How is this any different?
So this database that I am talking about is quite different from what we already do, in the sense that this will basically have first of all the tech team people, the club people, and also those who pursue research as well as their own student projects, researchers in labs as well. All of this database during my groundworks that I have conducted was this was brought to my notice that this is done at a very later stage, and that too on a very personal reference basis. I want to remove that bias.
You do know, right, that we already approach tech teams, approach professors for the research students to make databases. I personally, I and many other people working in the ML domain approach many professors for their PhD students. Again, this is the same record. How is this any different? Just making this earlier won't change anything, right?
I am talking about the scope of this point and as well as the timeline. The scope needs to be made in a very structured way. That's why it has been clearly written that it needs to be in a very good structure. This is what I am talking about in this one.
What do you mean by structure? A database has names and their contact. What is the structure in a database? And
so the structure that I am talking about, as I just mentioned in my first answer, was that I will have the proper connections between the tech team people, the clubs people, as well as those who have participated in the past. All of that needs to be brought under a database that persists for years, as in the previous year people need to also be included in this.
you're not answering my question. What will you do by making connections across clubs, teams and stuff? You just, in a database, you need a name, you need a number, you need what they're associated with and what they're good at. What will you do by making connections? This already exists and we have database across years. We use competitions also. You're not answering that point that why will your database be different?
So, coming to your question, it was clearly stated to me that such a database does not inherently exist. Something of this sort, something of a sheet sort is made at the very end near when the inter-IT is near. And regarding your point where connections, right? So I am tracking people based on their interests. This is what will help when you aim at practicing for inter-IT for a period that extends longer than what is already done.
You were also part of the Inter-IT core team, and I think you must know that we started databasing almost from September first week. That is well in advance before Inter-IT. Inter-IT is in October mid. So how are you going to take this even backward? When are you going to do it?
It's not about backward, it's about year long. So this needs to be maintained and constantly updated because people's interests and as well as the research fields or like the courses they take up, all of this keeps changing. This is what I'm talking about, that the students, based on what has changed recently, and we will always keep in constant touch with them. As in, you might be familiar that other IITs that excel at inter-IT technique have a very good structure of keeping people constantly engaged in something of a training activity of some sort. This will help in those activities.
How are you
This
going
is your
to
last question.
How are you going to make that database yearly? It's going to be based on competition they take part in or some kind of event, right? That's what we do during inter-IT databasing. You must have done the same thing. We take names from competition winners or events that people do good in. How is this different? Again, you're not answering that point.
I have already answered by saying that this will encompass all the interests of those persons as well as from various new fields that I just mentioned that I'll be adding. You mentioned competitions, you at most mentioned the club activities that they have been a part of. But I am also discussing that their research projects, that their tech teams, all of that will be also included and will be maintained for a longer time. This is what I am mentioning.
Okay, so yeah, Suresh, you can start with your question.
Sure. My first question is under infrastructure and access heading in your manifesto. Introduce TL safety and training sessions to expand safe access to machines. What are the intentions and expectations from this initiative?
Okay. So the intention is to first of all safety for people and that the machines don't get damaged very frequently. And your second point, how this is going to happen? We are going to hold safety sessions every twice a semester where technicians will teach how to use the machines and a database will be made and only those particular people in the database will be allowed to use those machines.
So do you mean to say that any person without this session, without having attended this session, would be denied and restricted from using the TL machines?
No, they will not be denied. They will have to call the lab technician to help them out and then only they will be allowed to use the machine.
First of all, this already happens as TL is an open workspace and the technicians are always present there to help people out. Besides, TL has already been conducting these sessions regularly for the past 10 years. Here are a few proofs and brochures that have been circulated by TL, and I don't understand what more are you trying to achieve with this session.
Okay, so now if I give you the details, these sessions will happen, the database will be made, there will be RFID scanners on the machine. If you're not a part of the database, you won't be allowed to use the machine. Only if you're a part of the database, you'll be allowed to use the machine. And now, coming to the part where technicians exist, yes, technicians are there in the lab, but if I have open access to the machine, I will not call the technician, I will rather try using it on my own.
Having been a member of technical teams, having been a member of AUDITV, I have personally used these machines a lot, and I know for sure that technicians are already doing this. Besides, the exact session and databasing and all of that I just mentioned, this is like quite literally mentioned in the TL, in basically every TL manager's manifesto for the past few years. And as I have shown you, these are the proofs, these are the brochures. They have clearly mentioned machine training sessions. This is already happening. I don't see how this is bringing a change. Please explain.
I just explained you the difference. There's an RFID scanner. If you're not right now, the machine training sessions are happening, but there's no incentive for people to attend it. People will just go to TL and use the machine. Right now, what the change they're trying to bring is with the RFID scanners, it becomes almost a compulsion for you to attend the event. Attend the training session in order to use the machine if you don't want the help of the technician. That's the difference.
So having used these machines on my own, I very well know that at times there's an urgent requirement to use such a machine. You might need to use this machine at like 12 at night, 12 at midnight, and if you are stuck with that RFID system, it limits the usability of that machine. Plus, these sessions that you mentioned twice a semester, twice a year, I hope.
So, please complete your question because this is your last one.
Alright. So, since there is a very big number of students that uses these machines on almost a daily basis, that comes from the tech teams as well as self projects. These sessions, how would they suffice and how would they cover all of that population?
I'll just first tell a point. Since you mentioned tech teams, you must also know that they have a lot of problems because TL equipment is lot of time not working because they get faulty. Because of which we are trying to bring in the RFID system. And secondly, you said how is this going to be at, like if someone wants to use it at 12 in the night. Technicians are available at most of the times. If not, you have to contact someone who is there in the database to use this thing. I hope that answers the question.
I request the audience to not use abusive language. Let's keep this SoapBox formal. Okay, Veeraditya, you can move ahead with your questions. Before that, I would like to mention, please don't repeat your questions in rebuttals. If you are repeating the same question, just tell me, my previous question was not answered. I don't have any further questions. And similar goes with the candidate who's answering the question. They can simply mention, I already answered the question. Thank you.
Okay, coming to my next point, your first point under projects and competitions. Launch student-driven technical projects that are aimed to promote the health tech domain. This is already happening. WNCC and ITC have conducted many events in the last year promoting health tech projects and competitions. What are you planning to do here?
I have mentioned in the point that these are student-driven technical projects and these will be the part of summer activities. So what I am trying to achieve here is real tangible output that combines hardware and software projects to promote this domain.
What? Where have you mentioned summer and hardware? But fine. Hardware projects in health tech, what do you mean? What is hardware and health tech?
I assume any person from a technical background would know what hardware in health tech does. Basically, what it does is that wearable health and related technologies are being mentioned and are being talked about here.
Wearable technologies is mainly models that we are trying to do. That's what we also did. WNC did 3 events. If you had taken the relevant examples, you would have known this. That they've already done this. There were almost 3 to 4 events related to this, health tech, and even wearable technologies. What is happening differently again? And how are you going to do this?
You might be aware of the summer activities, Institute Technical Summer Activities. As a part of that, as well as a long-driven, long projects that are aimed at actual building to deployment of health tech projects. Not just a single competition, not just a single event, not just a single session, but I am focusing at long-term projects that are student-driven and not a club's event.
Clarification, for ITSP, we don't propose projects, students are the ones that bring the projects. So how are you going to launch projects in ITSP?
In the point, it's written itself that student-driven projects. It's not something that I am asking or like I am imposing on them. It is student-driven technical projects. They are supposed to bring up projects on their own in this.
What? You told students to bring the projects. So what is your role in this? They are bringing the projects, they do the projects. What is your role in this?
So this is about the domain. I am asking them, I am in the orientation, as well as for providing support for continuing this entrepreneurially. I am talking that this student-driven technical project will be promoted.
You mentioned
Yeah,
that you said that you're going to help them do the project. That is any ITSP project, whether they bring it in health tech, whether they bring it in software, hardware, you're going to help them anyways. What is different?
So the difference here comes that when I conducted groundworks with bodies like BETIC, bodies like KCDH, this was a domain that is still, it needs a lot of support from the GS side as well as from the entire ITC sort of council. And here I am talking about long-term student-driven projects. And that's literally what BETIC as well as the other bodies that are related to health tech domain want to be promoted. Want this sort of projects to be happening.
Okay, so you can go ahead with your question.
My second question is, you have mentioned ensure tech teams have a clear and practical e-waste disposal guidelines. Can you brief the e-waste disposal guidelines you are talking about?
Guys, when a candidate is questioning or answering, please remain silent at that time. After that, you can vote as much as you want. Thank you.
Okay, so when I took downloads to the tech teams, they told me that currently there is no proper guidelines for them to dispose of their e-waste. It's mostly lying in the labs here and there. They need proper guidelines. Yellow dustbin exists in the institute, but you cannot dispose of all waste in the yellow dustbin. There are some particular e-waste that cannot be disposed of in the yellow dustbin.
Did you conduct groundworks with the PHO?
Yes, I have spoken not with the PHO, but I have spoken to the Ishas and the Dishas. They have guided me on this.
If you would have visited the IITB PHO website, you could have got these documents that I am holding in my hand. It is clearly mentioned the e-waste disposal guidelines, not just for tech teams, for everyone. And as well as with the locations the bins are placed, as well as detailed guidelines for how to dispose of the e-waste. Yeah.
I hope that you have read those documents as well. Again, I said only not all waste can be disposed of in the yellow dustbin. There are a lot of e-waste that has to be disposed of externally. There are particular external agent drives that have to happen in order to dispose of that e-waste. You cannot dispose everything in the yellow dustbin. You cannot even dispose of lithium-ion batteries there.
It is mentioned batteries, broken screens, everything comes under a single umbrella term, e-waste, and these guidelines are put in place by the IITB PHO. At best, I'm not trying to, I'm sort of not convinced by what you just explained. Still, these are the e-waste, what is it that you are trying to do differently?
I already answered this. That guideline that PHO has is mainly regarding the yellow dustbin. Tech teams have many types of e-waste, many different types. Batteries, chips, controllers, they all have to be disposed of in very different ways. Even bigger e-waste like screens, etc. have completely different way of disposal. That is what is happening differently here.
Please brief what are the different ways of disposal for batteries, for screens, and for microcontroller chips.
Correct. So, coming back, in the yellow dustbin, you can dispose of smaller batteries, you can dispose of chips, etc. For screens, for controllers, for even larger items, there's a proper external dive where the agent comes through, he picks up the waste and then he disposes it off to the government. That's how the disposal happens for those kind of waste.
Okay. Sure. Okay. We can go ahead with the question. Again, I repeat the candidates. If you are asking a rebuttal, please be very specific. If it is similar to the previous rebuttal, it makes no sense. Just answer. My question wasn't answered. I don't have any further questions. That's it.
Okay. So coming to your point on miscellaneous first point, implement a new GC scoring policy where hostels will be incentivized based on the proportion of attendees in tech events. Could you just first explain what you are trying to do here?
I am trying to implement a GC scoring policy that the current GC scoring policy rewards individuals and essentially their expertise in tech. I want to reward the overall culture that exists in a certain hostel and the effort that the people, that the council people as well as the hostel people put into basically participating more and more in tech.
Won't this just lead to unnecessary increase in registrations in your events where tech schools will just try to send in students who are not at all interested in the event to just get points for their GCs? How are you ensuring that this will lead to betterment of the GC culture and even the tech culture?
So the uninterested people that you are talking about, we are sitting over here in a technical institute. Everyone is well in their mind to decide what is of their interest, what do they need to attend. The technical counselor never forces. I have been in hostel council as well, hostel fire council. I know that no technical counselor pushes or forces a certain amount, like a certain number of people to participate in anything. They can promote, they incentivize maybe, but it's never forced.
They don't promote, they don't push because this is not in place right now, right? If this is in place, they start pushing. And even apart from that, this is going to create a bias in the events that you're doing. If there is a beginner-friendly event, you're going to bias it towards beginners for points. And if it's an advanced event, it's going to be biased towards advanced people. How can you distribute those points normally like this?
In my opinion, this beginner and advanced distinction you are trying to make, it's quite literally a fresher hostel and a senior hostel distinction. So, anyways, the fresher hostels are not a participant or a member in the GCs. The GCs are primarily meant, in fact, only meant for the senior hostels. So, there is no beginner and advanced sort of a audience that we are talking about.
No, see, in our events,
The candidate question.
so in our events, if there is a beginner event happening, and mostly currently based on the statistics, most of the club events are beginner oriented currently. There are many advanced events happening also, but the majority is beginner oriented. So the people in each hostel, you're just biasing it towards beginner people attending the events. If someone is good at tech, why will he come to an event where you're teaching basics of something?
First of all, you have contradicted your point. First, you were asking that it's biased towards advanced people. Now you are saying that it's biased towards the beginner people. Now, I would like to make it very clear to you that this incentivizes the people based on participation in the events they want to participate in, as well as not just the events, not just the lecture sessions. I'm also talking about workshops. I'm also talking about hackathons, and essentially every tech activity that happens in the institute must be promoted more and more, and this is the main purpose of this point.
Guys, no official language for this time.
So you do know, right, that you yourself are doing it for the betterment of the tech culture and betterment for GC culture. You're distributing points, that GC points, for people attending events. How will this just improve the tech culture? People won't start attending events just for GC points, right?
I'm pretty sure as you might have conducted a couple of GCs yourself. In fact, just one GC till now. So, in those, you might be familiar that there are participation bonus points. The participation bonus points are separate from the GC points. I am talking about awarding them with bonus points in those overall GC rankings and standings. And this is, an bonus incentive sort of a thing. So, I hope that answers your question.
No, my question was, currently there is less participation in tech GCs as a whole. Even in GCs people are not attending, yet you're saying for GC points people will start attending new events.
The GC participation is a little different from what we are talking here. This is the participation in events, and the GC participation is less that we talked about. There are other reasons to it, and not me incentivizing people to participate more in overall tech. The participation in overall tech is basically because required. It's very much required in this institute, and from the hostels, the people who are usually reluctant to just come out of their rooms and participate in tech events, I want to mobilize those people with the help of the hostel tech council.
So this is the last question of manifesto debate. So you can ask your question.
My last question to you is regarding your point. Create a pan-ITC pitch deck to represent tech teams, events and competitions, and leverage it to streamline sponsorship outreach for ITC activities. What is the primary goal of this initiative?
So, whenever ITC pitches to any external sponsor, what they want is a pitch deck representing entire IIT, entire tech IITB, where we include clubs, communities, tech teams. So they want a pitch deck where they're explaining all of that. That is what we're trying to do here.
In your answer, you mentioned communities. First up, they are not existing anymore from the coming year. Apart from that, my question is that there already exists a pan-ITC pitch deck from the past, like the tenure previous to this one. And this pitch deck, you only need to change a few lines here and there. I'll hand this pitch deck to you after this. And what more are you trying to achieve?
Okay. Coming. Coming to the point again, you're saying that pitch deck exists. Yes, I've seen that as well. But that is very outdated. And you're saying communities won't exist, they still exist and they will still be a part of the pitch deck. There's time to that. Let's ignore that point for now. But coming to the pitch deck, there are a lot of changes that need to be made. New communities have come in, clubs have changed a lot in their working. Many new tech teams have come in. This all needs to be brought in under a proper sponsorship way of this thing of pitch deck.
You have written, create a pan-ITC pitch deck. Creation implies that you are trying to build it from scratch and it does not exist. It already exists as I have just shown you and I have submitted to the EC. You just need to make a couple of lines of changes that is not a big change that you are trying to bring. Again, coming to a question that I want to ask to you is upon the point that you just mentioned that communities. If you would have conducted groundworks with the Dean of Student Affairs, you would have known that communities are something that are supposed to be phased out.
You do know that that's from next year, right? They still have time. So you should have done it groundworks properly. It's from next year. They still have time till March to decide whether they want to become a tech team and club. Answering your question, that is not a sponsorship pitch deck. A sponsorship pitch deck has a completely different angle to it. You build it from a different angle. The sponsor reads it, you should understand the numbers, the volume that you're dealing with. And a lot of things are missing in that. In the recent times, we have had many new tech teams come in. Communities have started doing new work. All this has to be incorporated into that. So that is more of a ITC document rather than a pitch deck.
It is a proper pitch deck. I hope you have read that. If that is not the case, that's why this point comes from you. The pan-ITC pitch, it is exactly a pan-ITC pitch deck that has all the numbers, right? It has all the numbers, all the things. Apart from adding a couple of pages about a new tech team, you could have written updated. What is it that you are creating? You could have written updating the pitch deck, updating the existing pitch deck. What is it that you are creating over here? This is because my last question was unanswered.
I'm again telling you, a pitch deck is built from a completely different angle. You build it from a very sponsorship side of things. The communities are not included properly in that pitch deck. Again, I'm answering the same thing. There are tech teams have not been included. That is just a document that we build to represent IIT. We want to build it in a very sponsorship oriented way, so that we don't have to again do this for the next couple of years.
I have made my point.
Okay, sure. So this was the manifesto debate come discussion. We will go ahead with the topic debate section. So I have 3 topics with me, and Shreesh, you can pick any of the chicks. Hello. So we'll be starting with the topic debate. The topic selected is as follows: hostel, tech culture, and GCs. So the topic goes: hostels at IIT Bombay are supposed to provide more than just living spaces, while students engage in cultural and sports activities at the convenience of the hostels. They struggle to find basic inventory to finish even their course projects in hostels, let alone find an opportunity to tinker for fun. By the way, till then, candidates can prepare for their answer. So with minimal participation from all hostels, we are losing the hostel tech culture that an upcoming student dreams of. Now the questions are, what innovative formats can be introduced to build a more inclusive and vibrant tech culture, especially when it comes to TG hostels? The second question is, what steps can you take to push hostel tech councils so that their work is not limited to GCs, but expand to hostel projects, tech for fun events and mentor interactions? Candidates have 2 minutes to prepare for their answer. We will have opinions from both the candidates, and after that we will start with the debate. Guys, are you ready with your answers? Suresh? Okay, so we will have 3 minutes for to get the opinions of both the candidates. After that, we will have a 6 minute per candidate debate. Uh, Suresh, you can start. Yeah, so we will have 3 minutes for your opinion, three for his. Then we can ask you questions for maximum of 6 minutes. You can ask him questions for maximum of 6 minutes.
Sure. So, in the debate topic,
I want it. So once only 30 seconds will be remaining, I'll tap on the button.
regarding the hostel GC culture, in order to implement changes that intend to increasing participation not just in GCs but in all the events, I believe my manifesto initiatives inculcate all of these in a very holistic and all-rounded fashion. I would like to focus on the point where I intend on implementing a new GC scoring policy which will also include an incentivization of hostels to bring in participation in the events that ITC conducts, in the hackathons that ITC conducts. I will be implementing a logarithmic engagement model. This really stems from a very simple to understand sort of a formula where we are logarithmically incentivizing the teams, hostels, to participate in the technical events. This participation would basically, the factors or calculation would be the hostel population, the base percentage that is sort of participating in any event without any extra effort, and the overall number of attendees in an event from that hostel. Using these factors, it becomes very easy for you to essentially grade the hostels and incentivize them. This is where the hostel tech council comes into picture. They need to promote and advertise more about the clubs, the club events, the hackathons and sessions. And by doing this, we hope that the hostel, participants from hostels will come in a greater number. And again, to the PG tech culture, which this debate topic also tries to cover. The PGs need more of research. They have more of a research mindset, and that is where having PG mentors in technical teams as well really helps out. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that PGs and PhDs are very good people in when it comes to the research knowledge and their knowledge of research methodology. This is what we as UGs need to learn from them, and they also need some sort of mentorship experience. They want to contribute. In fact, in my groundworks, I got to know that they are willing to contribute into technical teams as mentors. Plus, I have also had my initiatives framed in such a way that I will incentivize PG participation through conferences and networking events.
Okay, sure. So we will first start with the debate on your opinion. After that, we'll go on to the other. If you have any questions for his opinion, you can ask right now.
You mentioned a logarithmic scale for increasing hostel participation. First of all, can you explain what scale this is? What are you trying to do here?
This comes up from really basic things like mathematics. By the way, this sort of a logarithmic engagement model. Here we are trying to incentivize based on three factors as I just mentioned. First is the overall hostel population. Second is the base number of attendees from all those hostels, which is a fixed number by the way. Suppose 2% of that hostel is a base that we assume will anyways going to be participating, and on top of it, the actual number of attendees in that event from that hostel. Using these three factors and a formula, something like natural law of a factor calculated using these three essential elements, that's how I plan on implementing this logarithmic engagement model.
Myself, I'm confused what all you said. Do you really think this, whatever model you mentioned, is going to lead to increasing participation in GCs or even events? Already there is less participation. Whatever formula you are applying that you are going to say you are going to incentivize participation from a hostel, which anyways is happening in GCs. How is your model going to make anything different?
I would request you to please be clear in your question. You are going from GCs to events and then coming back to GCs. I'm
Stick on GCs for now.
Okay. Regarding GCs, this thing, GCs already have a participation sort of an incentive. So this sort of a model, I have clearly mentioned that events, tech events, we will be incentivizing participation in. And I believe the debate topic also clearly mentions that GCs ke alawa, you need to bring in participation. You need to how will you increase the participation in events that are not GCs? So that's what I'm trying to answer.
You're not understanding my point. I'm saying that people are anyways getting tech DCs happen, there is less participation there. How is your logarithmic model, which is giving away GC points, is what I understood from your model? How is that going to increase participation when GC itself, where you're getting actual prizes, is getting less participation?
Well, in the technical events that are not GCs, if you start incentivizing hostels to bring in participation, that is how I plan on implementing this. I have been very clear with my point, and this sort of a logarithmic engagement model is actually taken, this inspiration comes from the industry. In all the content engagement models that sort of social media platforms use, this is very highly correlated in a mathematical sense to that sort of a movement, that not movement, but that sort of a usage that already happens in the industry. I am taking inspiration from there and implementing this sort of a logarithmic engagement model into providing incentive bonus points to hostels that participate more and more in tech events, in the generic all of the ITC tech events.
See, a student who is interested to attend any event, irrespective of GC point or whatever incentive, will attend it. And if someone does not want to attend it, he won't attend this thing for a GC point. If he would be attending that event for a GC point, he would rather take part in the GC, which is not happening. The participation is less. Shouldn't you be focusing on that end, that get more participation for GCs rather than increasing participation for normal events based on GCs?
Not allowed to ask for his answer. No, that will happen after this. So, coming back to the same point, you are repeating on a question over and over again.
You are not answering it.
You are thinking that this is incentivizing the participation in GCs. I am saying that this is giving them an incentive to participate in
I'm not saying this is incentivizing it for GCs. I'm saying why will a student attend your event for GC points?
The hostels are supposed to advertise the event more and more in order to bring out participation, in order to let this information to people who have not been informed about that event yet. Moreover, your question also covered something of a sort that if a person is interested in some sort of an event, they will anyways come. That's what the base participation I'm anyways talking about. That's the base number of participants, assuming, like just for an example in this discussion, 2% of the hostel is anyways going to participate because of.
How are you calculating that base number?
This base number I gave it to you right now as an example.
How will you calculate it later? What is the?
This will be based upon a discussion during the tech board meetings.
Hostel will always bid for a higher number.
Suresh, you meant tech comment.
Tech comment, sir. So yeah, this sort of a discussion needs to take place between the hostels and the ITC. And if you try doing this during the tech board meet, you will come to a consensus along with all the hostels. You will be taking inputs from those hostels as well, not just trying to implement your own policies, you're not imposing something that has been happening till now regarding the GC.
You're beating around the bush, you're not answering my question. How will you get that number? Just tell me that.
I just told you that this will be discussed in a TechCom meet.
What is discussed? Like, suppose if I'm the TechCom, I say 2%. Now, what are you going to do upon this?
So, this is basically that the 2% threshold I'm talking about. This will be done upon the past participation sort of statistics from different hostels and also
they never maintained the data of participation in the previous event.
That's what you should have been doing as a government.
We don't want to do this GC scoring policy. It's your initiative. We don't believe in it.
Who's me?
You mentioned me, so I'm talking about my club.
It's I, not me.
Okay. So yeah, we'll be ending the debate here. Virality, you can go with your opinion on this topic.
Okay, so what innovative formats can be introduced to build a more inclusive and vibrant tech culture? So here, what I am trying to do is, first of all, let's start on the very base, hostels. Currently, some hostels do have tech rooms, some don't have tech rooms. I'm trying to incentivize tech course to build more tech rooms. I mean, some hostels have already applied for tech rooms and put up proposals, but they don't really know what all they should include in a tech room. If a hostel has a tech room, the culture starts building from there itself. A person might go to the tech room, tinker around a bit. If he has a deadline, he can use the tech room to do the reasoning instead of going to TL regularly. So that point is sorted out through my point on hostel tech room incentives. Then coming to PG participation. Currently, PGs feel that events that happen in their own hostel, like you can say Kritika stargazing, are something that they are very interested for, or events that teach them something on the very basics. Because PGs have interest, but they feel that our events have some sort of prerequisite knowledge that they don't have. So we can conduct boot camps for PGs that happen from the very basics. Like we can promote participation of PGs in our SOCs, SOQs, etc. Because that teaches stuff from the very basics. Then coming back to increasing participation in for PGs, we conduct R&D expos, like our tech R&D expos with research parks, so that students and PGs can come and present their research, and they get opportunities from companies that are coming to the expo, who will be providing them sponsorship, funding opportunities, and probably even placement opportunities. That will also incentivize their participation in tech culture. One more point, PGs are very good at solving a problem. If given a problem, they know the proper pipeline of how to approach the problem, of how to document it, etc. So we conduct applied research sessions where PGs will come in and teach UGs how to tackle a problem, how to experiment with it, how to present their results, how to make it into a research paper, etc. And for the general public, I'm trying to increase access to resources, like provide them with GPU access, provide them with resources, portal where they can probably pitch in for their hobby projects. I'm trying to provide them continuation pathways for ITSP, so they get incentivized to complete ITSP projects, and even GCs. I'm trying to take it into an inter-IT tech format so that there is more seriousness for GCs. Even techcos are more serious towards it. Students feel that, yeah, we're definitely getting something out of it, an incentive, a resume point, etc. Thank you.
Okay, we can start with the debate. In your speech, you just mentioned that you will be having tech room establishment. Can you please expand on that?
I didn't say tech room establishment. Many hostels have proposed for tech rooms in their hostel, which some of them have got approved and some of them are still pending on approvals. I am going to help them set these up, not help them, I'm going to provide them with guidelines to set these up on what all they can keep in the tech room, what all basic equipment they should keep in the tech room, and also incentivize them to maintain the tech.
If you would have searched for once in the ITC drive, you would have found that the previous TL manager, when we used to be conveners, at that time the TL manager did form a tech room guidelines, a proper document which covered how to set up and what to include in a tech room. That document is already there in place. The ITC, the GSTA, that never determines if, is not the deciding authority if a tech room in a hostel will be established or not. The suggestions part is already covered in the tech room guidelines, and you are not playing a role in deciding whether a hostel gets a tech room or not. So what's the entire change that you're trying to make?
Okay, again I'll come to your point. I am not establishing tech rooms, I mentioned that very clearly. Then if you read my point clearly, it says revise hostel tech room guidelines and incentivize setup and active. Most of the hostels don't even know this guidelines exist, and based on new hostel tech rooms, like some hostels have got really good tech rooms, they're going to revise these guidelines on what all you can keep, by different opinions from them, and then incentivize the setup and keep it.
So your point, where you are trying to let hostels know about these tech room guidelines, these tech room guidelines, all you need to do is share a Google Drive with. Apart from that, the revision that you mentioned in the tech room guidelines, what revision does it require now that is not already there in those tech room guidelines?
The tech room guidelines is exhaustive. It is good. I'm not denying that. But if you go talk to some tech course, they have done extensive, they have done it beyond the tech room guidelines also. They have got some equipment that is not mentioned in the tech room guidelines. Probably includes that as well in those guidelines, that you can also bring this, which will help students, because they particularly bought it for some assignment that was in a course that a lot of people are doing. Something like that we can do for all the hostels.
But these curriculum guidelines, which you just mentioned, already cover that. And they are present on a Google Drive link that is open to be viewed by all. All you need to do is share these on WhatsApp or any or on webmail if you like. All you need to do is just publicize this link that already exists. Apart from that, the editing and revision in the curriculum guidelines you mentioned, the equipment that every hostel wants to purchase, apart from what is mentioned in the curriculum guidelines, is their own decision. And I don't really see how you wish on deciding what a hostel can purchase and cannot.
I'm not, those are guidelines, those are not something that I'm enforcing on them. Guidelines are suggestions that they should follow this, they can follow this. And you mentioned that why will hostels follow it? It's something that they want to do it. If you spoke to hostel tech rooms, they have told you they do want to bring out tech rooms, they want to make tech rooms. So we're just providing them with the right guidelines on what all you can include in the tech room.
They already exist. That's what I have been repeatedly saying, and my previous question was left unanswered. The tech room guidelines already exist. What is the delta that we are trying to achieve here? What is the delta we are looking at?
If you speak to the parent hostel tech rooms, they have set up very good tech rooms that include equipment other than the tech equipment included in the guidelines. We are trying to increase the guidelines doc by including more things in the document. And like I mentioned my point, it's revised. I have not mentioned create tech room guidelines.
Moving to your point where you mentioned the PG tech culture. PGs, you said that you will be holding research conference, you will be conducting applied research sessions. What exactly are you trying to do with the applied research sessions?
Like I mentioned in my initial statement also, PGs will come in, whichever topic or problem statement they are working on, they'll explain what was their approach on that statement, how they started, what was the thought process behind it, what all experimentation they did towards it, so UGs can understand the pipeline of how to do a research. Currently, UGs really don't know how to start working on a problem or how to even start researching on anything. That's what we're trying to do.
My question is, how do you plan on bringing them in?
I have spoken to many PG students. They are very more interested to come and present the research because they are getting a stage to publicize what they are doing, publicize the research. They get fame out of it, and they are very excited to help UG students in doing this.
Even I have done enough groundworks with the PGs, and they are interested in publicizing their research. But they have not completed their research yet. They are still in the development phase. They have not published anything of substance till by the time they are near the end of their degree. So this does not really encompass all of the PGs and PhDs population. This is really like the final year of their whatever.
Correct. This doesn't have to include all PG students, right? This is where PGs will come in and explain what they're doing. This is not a PG targeted student, targeted event.
At the same time, you mentioned that you will be increasing SOC participation for PGs. The SOCs, SOS, they are really a very basic project to be starting with, and PGs are not really interested in participating in basic events.
We are done with the time. So since we have some time left, we will be going ahead with another topic. This time we can choose one topic from the remaining ones. Yeah, so due to constraints, this time we would have a debate of 3 plus 3 minutes rather than 6 plus 6 minutes. I'll describe the topic in short. So this is about ITSA and summer projects. Institute Technical Council offers a transformative platform to students to enhance their technical skills and engage in impactful projects through TSS and ITSA. These initiatives are thoughtfully structured to provide students with exposure to a wide variety of technical domains, fostering a culture of continuous learning and immersion throughout the summer break. Now, The question is, how would you increase the retention rate of students so that more students complete these courses? Second question, it is seen that mentors are sometimes unresponsive to the teams, which in turn hinders their process and also might cause them to drop off. How would you establish a strong mentorship program, and how would you incentivize mentors to be more engaged and effective? Third question, as a GSTA, what will be your key focus areas to engage more students in these programs and make their experience more fruitful? We will start in 2 minutes. Just let me know if you are done with jotting down your points. Are you guys ready? Please. Guys, done? You can start with your, you have a maximum of 2 minutes.
Okay. So coming to the first question, how would I increase the retention rate of students? So as my manifesto point says, I will be incentivizing the completion of the project. So we will be providing post-continuation pathways, post-continuation grants, so that students are actually incentivized to complete the project. After they complete the project, we will be having a meet with professors and sign, and also providing them grants so that they can take part in further competitions or even enhance their product and then take it further to the next level. After that, we will be publicizing these post-graduation pathways from the very start so that people are well aware that what all benefits they have for completing the project. Now coming to the mentors are unresponsive to teams sometimes. So what usually happens when a mentor drops off is because of two reasons. Either the team might not be interested or the mentor just is busy. So what we have tried to do this year with SOC as well is we try to create a portal where mentors will be reminded weekly to take meetings, and there will also be a rating system where students can rate the mentors on a bi-weekly basis. And finally, after the project is completed, based on a threshold rating, we will be awarding mentor certificates or not. This we plan to implement the next year for SOC as well. We can probably scale this for ITSP and all the other projects that are happening under ITSA, so that mentors are more responsive and more accountable. Coming to my work role as a GSTA, I will be focusing on proper structure and timeline for these programs, and also the ease of access to resources that I can provide to students in these programs. I have taken groundwork with Dean R&D as well. He has told that he is ready to provide bigger grants and bigger sources of even resources for the students taking part in ITSP. Then setting up pipelines and processes through which students will convert their project into probably a research startup and taking part in further external competitions is what I will be focusing on as a GSTA. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with the debate.
You mentioned about incentivizing completed projects and all, and you also mentioned about a portal where the weekly meeting notices will be sent to the mentors. The weekly and bi-weekly meeting system already exists in ITSP, ITSA in general, and you have this sort of progress reports that are being already in place. What is your portal trying to achieve?
Currently, the weekly or bi-weekly meeting system just exists. There is no check on the mentor whether he is taking the meeting or not. It's completely up to his will whether he wants to take the meeting. On the portal, what we're first trying to do is sending reminders to the mentors first will make them a bit conscious that yes, we have to take the meeting. It is a job that a student does usually, a manager does, that take the meeting. That will be done by the portal. And the rating system will also incentivize mentors to keep better bonding with their mentees and also help them out more frequent and more often.
The portal that you are talking about is it's often experienced, it has often been seen that portals often fail in their motive to essentially mobilize or notify people about any sort of notification you are talking about. It can be better achieved very easily through either a WhatsApp group or a community or even Discord. Why is the need of a portal everywhere where it is not required?
How? Because there are let's take an example for ITSP or even for any other event. We have limited number of people. How are you going to keep track that which mentor has taken a meeting when, and how will you be sending them messages every week that take a meeting?
But that's what you said you will be doing on the portal as well. The portal is exactly what you are trying to achieve and sending them reminders as you just said while explaining in your speech.
The portal won't be manual, obviously. The portal will be digitalized. If a mentor has scheduled a meeting and completed it, there will be the report logs, the meeting log that will come through, and then his meeting for the week will be completed. If his meeting has not been completed up to the point for the week, he'll be notified and even reminded regularly to take up that meeting.
As far as web development and portal development is concerned, I don't think any portal is manual. They are anyway digital. Portals are digital. As actually, but the coding secretary, you are supposed to knowing that portals are digital. Moving ahead on that, are you familiar with bots and how you can have a bot on something like Discord and have the bot do all of these things without the need for deployment of a portal?
You don't know, right, that in ITB the Discord culture is not very good. Most of the people don't use Discord. And why do you want to go from a portal to Discord? The portal serves the same purpose. It's much easier for the mentor to use. He can see all his mentees there. He can see what progress they have made. He can even schedule meetings there. He can put up assignments there. Why do you want to do it on Discord? It's just like a replacement for WhatsApp there.
Okay, we are done. Suresh, you can start with your opinion on the topic. You have maximum of 2 minutes.
Sure. The summer activities are supposed to be incentivized and promoted by implementing more regularity in the meets. The feedback forms that need to be regularly floated and reviewed about the mentors, as well as the incentivization of mentors can also be done through ensuring that the repetitive projects would be tried to be replaced with something unique. The mentors usually also drop out because of one more reason, that the projects that they take up or the projects that students have brought to them are often repetitive. If something unique exists in them, this needs to be done with continuous discussion and talks with the teams. Also, like the mentors part, we are not really pressurizing anyone. We are actually providing motivation, and in order to continue their work as a mentor by regular engagement through communication channels, like Discord, as well as the sort of regular update system that also incentivizes and grades them based on the participation that they have kept. Apart from this, the projects will be incentivized for completion by collaboration with signing with Research Park and all of the facilities that provide incubation support. We will be providing incubation support to the successful projects, and apart from that, we can also focus more on the best mentors awarding. So this sort of a system exists in the ERC events, primarily Accelerate. We are trying to bring in the best mentors awards in all the summer activities as well. Like the post completion of those projects, these sort of best mentors will be like recognized and will be advertised on the ITC website as well as on all of our communication and social media channels.
Okay, you can start with
Okay, a few questions. You mentioned you want to make the meets more regular. How regular do you want to make these meets?
It really depends upon the type of effort a certain project requires. Although weekly meets are weekly and bi-weekly meets are sufficient for that.
So this is what already happened. So this is nothing new. Coming to the next
You
list,
said you will be doing weekly and bi-weekly meets. So
weekly, bi-weekly meets are already supposed to happen. So you are saying that is also
already happening and already supposed to happen are different.
So how are you incentivizing that? How are you going to make sure that it will happen weekly?
Weekly meets do not happen in such summer activities. I am saying that these sort of meets would be encouraged and would be made sure that, okay, did the mentor conduct a weekly meet? Yes or no? This is a simple question that I am asking.
How? How are you going to encourage the mentor? Are you just going to say weekly meet, please take the weekly meet?
Constant engagement is something that helps you. If you remain in contact with those mentors through a communication channel as I just mentioned, this is what helps the mentors to be also notified that you are trying to ask them to conduct. You can't pressure anyone to do anything. Those are mentors, they are already busy, probably with their interns or places.
Okay, fine. Let's leave it. Let's go to the next point. You said
Okay, I left that.
You said repetitive projects. So if I, with a team of 3, have a project in ITSP and someone else has a similar project with a team of 3, will you just tell them कि नहीं तुम्हारा नहीं लेंगे, already एक team है?
This point was regarding the SOC, usually the SOC initiative and not the ITSP initiative. SOC, you might be very familiar. There are a lot of CP sort of programs and CP courses that run parallelly and are very, very similar to each other.
How will this help the mentor? The mentor is only running one course, right? How is this helping the mentor to stay in the project?
I mentioned that asking for uniqueness in those projects and helping in bringing uniqueness to this project by even a simple small tweak. This is what
No, you are getting this. A mentor is only running one single project, correct? So bringing uniqueness to projects, how is this going to help the mentor? After all, he's only going to be a head of one project. Doesn't matter how unique that project is, right?
We are asking for the mentors to keep their projects a little bit unique and new. So basically what happens is that a lot of times the SOC, CP, this sort of courses, they have like quite literally the exact same questions from LeetCode or from some other platform. We are asking them.
That you're going to keep unique projects for mentors.
Yes, I will request you to please listen to my answer. So these sort of CP projects and CP courses, once you ask them to bring in something new, as in a new implementation or a new way in which they want to try to teach this DSA concepts to students, this is what makes it a little bit more engaging for the mentor as well. They are a mentor because they want to be a part of the CP culture. They want to increase or let's say promote the CP culture more, and that's how I plan on like asking them to get more engaged.
Yeah, so we have crossed the limit. It's fine. So in the next section, we will be moving ahead with the background check of both the candidates. So first, I have questions for Veeraditya. So you mentioned in your credentials that you served as Institute of Coding Secretary. Describe what you all did in your tenure in very brief. You should conclude your answer in less than 2 minutes.
Okay, so as the Institute of Coding Secretary, my aim was mainly to bring in more advanced events in the club, as the club was mainly currently focusing on beginners and beginner related events. That is what I focused on throughout my tenure. From the summers, I started focusing on trying to get a company to come and bring repositories for HelloForce so that we can have an advanced section for HelloForce as well. Then we started the initiative coding circuit that will help people to do CP and increase the CP culture. After that, we moved towards the hackathon phase where we conducted almost 4 hackathons in a month. That increased the hackathon culture. It gave people incentives to build projects. After that, we moved towards the community building part of the tenure, where we are trying to build communities for ML specific people. We are trying to host sessions where GDs for basically ML related papers. And finally, now we are coming to our concluding the tenure. This will be concluded via code words and via more ML related discussion sessions.
Okay, so now we have question for Suresh. So in your credentials, you have mentioned that you are part of the electrical subdivision of AUV, and you are also the industrial outreach lead of AUV. So also you can also describe your tenure, what all you did in AUV in the past. In very brief, we have to
Sure. I have been the member of Team AUV for the past 3 years as the electrical subdivision head of AUV along with the industrial outreach.
I know that you are not the electrical subdivision head.
This is verified credential by the team lead.
The electrical subdivision head, are you sure you want to mention this?
Yes.
Okay, so these are 4-year PORs. Are you aware of it?
It is the 4-year POR is a team lead. Team leader is a 4-year POR and electrical subdivision lead is a 3rd-year POR. In team area.
In your credentials, you have mentioned electrical subdivision and industrial outreach head. That also means that you are head for the industrial outreach and you are part of electrical subdivision. You haven't mentioned electrical subdivision lead.
This is a verified credential. I have the proof. I have the verified proof.
I'm saying just read your credential once. You'll understand what I'm saying.
I have read my credential. This is something that I have written and mentioned in my manifesto, and this is something that has been clearly verified by the current team lead of Team AUV. So, what exactly are you trying to ask me? Because
So
it is verified.
If you are electrical subdivision head, who is Anirudh Jangir?
He is the current team lead.
And he has verified this point?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. You can start your description once again.
Sure. So, as I had mentioned, as a member in the 18 AUV my primary task was to oversee the activities in the electrical subdivision as well as trying to inculcate more and more industrial outreach, more and more industrial projects, and that for the very same task, I have been basically making databases, trying to contact companies, and trying to bring in more and more projects.
Now we're into the section of quick question and answers for the Insight team. So I would like to invite the Insight team on the stage.
So this section will go on for a maximum of 20 minutes. After that, we will have 10 minutes for audience questions. For that, I would request whoever wants to question the candidates, please come behind the camera, form a line right now. We can accommodate a maximum of 10 questions.
Alright, so question for Veeraditya. An inter-IT open house was held previously during the 2024-2025 tenure, but had very, very low turnout. So how do you plan to ensure that doesn't happen again?
Okay, so yes, that time the open house was conducted, but the issue that time was it was not very well publicized, and it was the motive behind the open house was not conveyed very clearly. Here, what we're trying to do is we'll publicize the open house such that we'll be releasing the structure and even the schedule for selection camps in the open house. We'll be also briefing the Sophies about what all happens in inter-IT tech, how they can be a part of it, and also give them some resources on how they can prepare themselves for selection camps. So we'll be publicizing this well so that they are aware of what they are supposed to do after.
Alright.
So during that time, what was the motive which was conveyed for that event?
That time the open house was conveyed as a intro to inter-IT tech that we are going to explain. I mean, it's an inauguration to inter-IT tech basically. We will explain what happens in inter-IT tech, and we're just kicking off inter-IT tech from this point onwards. That was the motto of open house that time.
Alright, so question for Shresh now. Correct me if I'm wrong, in the manifesto video you had a point about enabling remote participation for tech team recruitment via an online protocol. So this was regarding them conducting tests, right, online. Okay, so which tech teams are you expecting responses from regarding this?
Can you please elaborate on your question?
So which tech teams have you talked to about this particular initiative? Are they even willing for this to happen?
Yes, the tech teams. I'm not allowed to name the exact tech teams, but I'll say this for sure that during my relevant groundwork with all the tech team leads, I have come to a conclusion from their groundworks that this sort of a system is needed, and we are talking about an applicant tracking system, which also includes the option of taking tests.
Okay, so having confirmed this with the AV tech team lead, he was not willing to have tests being conducted online.
I never mentioned a specific team, which is AV tech team.
That is one of the very few teams that does conduct live tests, right?
So I'm saying about, if you go to my manifesto plan, it's clearly mentioned, it's a unified online recruitment protocol, and that is optional for the teams to take tests upon it. I am asking them to have this unified system for better recruitment purposes. They can always hold any tests or interviews that they want to. Interviews are anyways held offline, and it is up to the discretion of the teams to, even if right now they say that, okay, I'll be conducting that test online on your platform, but later, if they want to change that statement, it's of course up to them, it's their test, and myself being in AV, I have conducted the test personally, and this sort of an online system, bringing all of the participants, all of the test, all of the freshies on a single platform really helps.
Out of all the tech teams that are present in campus, could you give a number of how many tech teams have agreed to this sort of structure?
Well, the exact number of teams agreeing to this sort of a structure is not the main point of concern here. The concern is that all the tech teams require this sort of a system in place of an online combined recruitment system, and the exact number of teams, well, you could take it to be around 3.
Alright. So now a question for Veeraditya. You had a point about launching the Summer of Tech as a unified umbrella for SOC, SOS, SOP, ITSP and KSP with a common registration portal and combined orientation. Now all of these except for SOP already do come under the umbrella of Institute Technical Summer Activities and already have a combined orientation as well. So your point is just creating a common registration portal?
So firstly, common registration is not just a common registration portal. This portal will also have each and every, basically you register for any event out of these, and then after that any assignment, any resources, any meetings that has to be scheduled will all be done on this portal. So basically it's a unified portal for all the activities happening. So there is no confusion among people about if they have missed any deadline or if they have missed any project in any of these domains. Because a lot of projects are floated in all of these domains and it's very confusing for people to keep track.
So now question to Shresh. You had a point about conducting technical competitions of different domains in collaboration with TechFest. Firstly, TechFest has conducts competitions where they get sponsorship from individual companies and then they organize these competitions. And also, is it the Institute Technical Council meant to promote Institute Tech culture within the Institute? So how is it going to help IT?
I have been, pressing on this fact that technical culture in the institute needs a lot more publicity and needs a lot more corporate support as well, basically from the companies. So what here we are trying to achieve is that TechFest, whose primary motive is conducting competitions for outside institute audience in collaboration with companies, will also help ITCs to conduct a few events inside the institute which are new, which are innovative, And also TechFest has a way larger reach in the technical space outside of institute as well. This helps us a lot within the institute as well as outside the institute. This helps us publicize the technical culture of our institute.
Okay, and timeline-wise, this is going to be in December when Inter-IT also takes place. So, don't you think there would be an overlap of, let's say, the contributions by the members?
Well, I never mentioned that timeline wise it's going to be in the specific month of December.
Okay.
In the December month, TechFest is anyways engaged with a lot of their own activities. I would like to bring to your notice that TechFest also prepares a lot and exists basically apart from the December month where their like their main event is coming. So before the December month, during the semester, within the semester as well as during the vacations, we can have this sort of events.
So, do you mean during the summers?
Well, it
Vacations,
depends.
are you referring to the winter vacations or the summer vacations?
Winter vacations post the TechFest event has ended, summer vacations before the
So, will these competitions happen and sessions happen offline?
might be offline, might be online, it all depends upon what type of event they are trying to conduct.
Do you think you have that amount of capacity of team members offline present in the campus for conducting such kind of events?
Well, during the semesters, yes.
And what about the vacations?
Online.
Alright, sure.
This question is for V. This is regarding your team that is spent. How much do you estimate to provide to the teams, considering the expenses are a lot?
Okay, so I have tried to get a data from each and every tech team of how many people travel for the competitions. The approximate rough cost for across all the tech teams that I have come to is around 1.5 CR to 2 CR. The exact amount of how much we will be providing to the tech teams is not very sure. It depends on how much the sponsors are willing to.
Also, have you talked to any companies who would be willing to do this?
Yes, I have spoken to 2 to 3 companies regarding this.
A question to the EC. Well, in this questioning and answering, am I allowed to ask a question to the inside?
No. You can ask it to me.
Alright. As the. Okay. Apart from. No. I want the question to be public. If I'm not allowed, it's fine.
Is this regarding the debate going on right now?
Yes.
Then no.
Fine.
Alright, so this is regarding your point on the tech, this is to Shesh, about your point on the Tech R&D Expo with the annual networking conference, right? So the Tech R&D Expo didn't happen this year, and there have been previous experiences as well about tech teams not really getting the right kind of funds and attention, and even industrialists not coming to campus. So how are you going to ensure that doesn't happen?
Well, now that the Tech R&D Expo, and now that the research park is there established, and we have a lot of companies existing in research park, we will have the companies from research park into this initiative in the annual networking conference. And the point where the tech teams have not been getting a lot of support from these sort of Tech R&D expos, this is where a lot of networking, a lot of pre-event databasing needs to be done, and also companies need to be contacted and brought together. During my groundworks with the ex-GSTA, in whose tenure this Tech R&D Expo was very successful. He has told me a certain way how to conduct these Tech R&D Expos and bring in more companies, and such that this sort of event can be made more successful.
Alright. Now, question to Veera regarding your point on conducting offline ITSP boot camps. Firstly, online ITSP bootcamps do happen already. So, in the timeline also, where would the offline bootcamps fit in, and what's the advantage of having offline bootcamps? Also, just a part of it, ITSP has, based on this year's experience. Now, juniors usually look forward to seniors' experiences, right? So, how will you ensure that the participation is up to the mark next year, considering the bad experiences that students had this year?
Okay, so I'll first answer your timeline question. This will, for you first ask whether it should happen offline or online. Correct. There are boot camps that happen online, but after speaking to the managers and even after speaking to the participants who took part, they feel that if boot camp would have happened offline, it would have been much more beneficial for them, because on online it's very tough to even to pay attention, or even learning hardware is tough online. So now coming to the timeline, this will happen right after the brainstorming session. The brainstorming session happens just after NSET. Just after that, for the next week, we will be having the offline boot camps. And coming to the part where you mentioned they had a bad experience this year, how will we ensure participation next year? What I'm trying to do there is, we'll at least display the few projects that came out of ITSP this year. Again, when ITSP is going to start next year, and at least in the orientation, so students get an idea of what all happened last year, even though they couldn't see it in the expo, they're going to see it in the orientation. And then, like my point say, I'm going to incentivize the post-continuation pathway for ITSP. That's how I feel they'll get a better experience this time.
This question is to Shreya. This is regarding the point on tech alumnus database of ex-ITC members. Do you aim for the alumni to guide the inter-IT PSS? Because alumni are usually very busy with their own work, and how will this be incentivized for them to contribute? Also, plus 2 and plus 3 batches already informally contribute to inter-IT PSS. So, what new are you planning to do here?
Sure. During my groundworks with the inter-IT CLs of this year as well as the past year, it was really pressed upon this fact that you need to bring in more guidance from people who are already working in the industry in relevant fields, as well as primarily working as competitors to the companies that bring PS. Okay, so the companies which are essentially in competition with the PS company, or also maybe the relevant fields, something of that sort in the alumnus database will be included. The incentivization part really comes up from their own inherent motivation to contribute, and the alums, the feeling of contributing to the inter-IT as a whole and to the institute tech culture is primarily sufficient, and we really can't incentivize an alum who has already been working in the industry to come ahead more. If they want to, they do. And based on my own experience, by being a member in inter-IT, even if I am the alum in future, it would be very it would be a matter of prestige for me to be helping out the future inter-IT people.
What about the time? Because they are working professionals, how do they take out time for this?
So, it is during their weekends, it is during their holidays, or it is even during not during the office hours. It is then that we plan to arrange for meets. If possible, offline. Of course, not all cases would be possible offline, so a lot of online meets will be taking place. And as soon as we need their guidance, we would be in constant touch with them, asking for guidance about the various inter-IT preparations that we plan on doing over the entire year. This would be sort of facilitated with the discussion with the alum, and as they find it convenient according to their own timeline, we'll be having those meets.
Okay, sure. So now question to Veer. You had a point about Freshie technique, right, which aim to integrate the Tech Mentor initiative. Now the Tech Mentor initiative, after having talked to people and even people in the council itself, was not very successful. So how are you planning on improving that?
Okay, so I'll give you a current scenario what happens. Currently what happens for a tech mentor, a form is floated out, and then whoever fills the form, we allot them mentors who are Sophies. There are forms floated out for mentor applications also. So we just allot the mentees a mentor, and then WhatsApp groups are made for these, and then we ask them to, the mentees are free to ask any doubts to the mentor. So right now there is no proper interaction that is being built between the mentee and mentor initially, because of which they have a bond, because of which the initiative will continue forward. So what I am trying to do is, all the students who register for the Freshie Tech League, despite any event, on the same floor or on the same wing, we'll allot a single mentor who will then come and interact with the participants, will interact with the students. First, related to the tech league, like the competitions that are going to happen, he'll give a brief about each competition. And then after that, since the initial interaction has been built, the mentee will also be free to talk to the mentor, and the mentor will also be more bonded towards the mentees and probably give them more time and be better responsive to them. That's how I'm trying to incorporate the tech mentor initiative there.
Alright. Question to Shresh now. What is the purpose of making an observatory shed when Pritika already has a room in H14 which has been strategically placed close to the terrace and it is quite convenient to them as well? Wouldn't making a new observatory shed now undermine the efforts of previous Pritika managers and even GSTA who have spent years strategically deciding H14 as a location?
The stargazing activity usually happens at night, post the sunset, and that is the time at night when girls can't enter the hostel 14, which is a senior boys PhD hostel. This is the reason why the H14 location is not very suitable and accessible to, let's assume, just the girls population. That's the reason why you need a dedicated shed outside of the hostel 14.
And what location do you have in mind?
The exact location will be decided by the space committee. Although I have a few locations in mind, but I still need to consult with the space committee if they are willing to allot that position.
Okay, and what are those locations? Can you mention those?
Well, one of them is near the old Hostel 7 PHO building, and between the Hostel 17, there lies a significant space which is relatively in the open as well as is vacant as of now.
Alright. Now, question to me regarding reviving InstaX as a team. Firstly, InstaX already used to exist as a team previously. So, what are you planning on doing different this time so that it runs? Also, just wanted to understand if this is a student-run body, then because of the nature of scalability that is required here, do you think that would function correctly? And even, let's say you need a team to maintain the device and fix them promptly in case of issues. Do you think the student-run team can do this promptly at all times?
Okay, so I'll first explain what I'm trying to do with InstaX. InstaX used to exist about 2 to 3 years back. What I'm trying to do is, back then, when I started working on some projects, they were trying to build screens, digital screens that exist currently that for public settings that they were trying to build it in-house. Now what, we were not able to bring it to a tangible end. We are going to revive it and bring them up with some new topics, and also probably we can continue the screen one. This will be a team established under ITC, so they will be funded by ITC budget itself. Now your question on whether students will be able to handle it, I feel definitely yes, students will be able to handle it. There are tech teams building much more greater things than solutions as small as a screen. So I think yes, students can be handling this.
With the regular schedules in mind, what if some kind of issue comes up and they need to solve it promptly, but because everyone in the team is busy with their academics or those kind of stuff, so how do you still think that can be solved immediately?
This is a bit vague, but trying to answer it is that, I mean, they will guide you to the academics, but it's a team after all. So there will be some people who can probably attend to the issue. It's not that everyone will be busy at the same time. So yeah, someone from the team can definitely handle the issue.
Okay.
This is a general question for both of you. This is regarding inter-IT tech. How do you plan on improving the performance in the next year, and give us a proper plan of action?
Who needs to answer first?
I'll go first. So, coming to the what happens generally in IT.
You can first start with the main bottlenecks you identified because of which we are not able to perform, and then give us that proper plan of action.
Okay. So the main reason I feel, ignoring this year, but the main reason I feel that we're not able to move towards the goal that we're aiming for is our presentation side of things. We are very good on our technical solutions, but we lack on the presentation side. We are not very good at presenting our solution in a product-oriented way, which other IITs are very good at, and because of which they are able to capitalize and dominate in inter-IIT. My plan is to increase our improve and enhance our presentation skills by bringing in teams to design our presentations, help us in our mock presentations, by bringing in professors who will give us complete boot camps on how we can present our solution in a very product-oriented way, which will then attract companies' eyes and probably sound better than a research-oriented solution.
Alright.
You mentioned that improving the presentations would help, right? So there was a dedicated team formed this year called Creators and Development Team for the exact same purpose. So what better do you plan to do here?
That team was tried to be built, but that was not able to cater to all the problem statements, and the team started working a bit late. I plan on doing this from the start so that we can have mock presentations quite in advance. This year we had our mock presentations held when we reached Patna. That was a bit too late. We had our presentation the next day, and we were making our presentation one day before, and even having mock presentations at the same time. I'm planning to do this in advance and have a proper dedicated team. I have spoken to a body in IIT itself for doing this, and they are more than willing to help us here.
Regarding the past inter-IIT tech experiences, we have constantly got the feedback that there is a little bit less publicity, little to no publicity regarding inter-IIT tech. The only publicity that takes place is at the time when the problem statements are about to be released, near about that. We need to shift these publicity timelines, we need to publicize inter-IIT tech more so that we can also capture the attention of Sophies, of freshies, and the people from the PG and PhD tech community. This will help in bringing more talent to the inter-IIT tech pool. Other than that, the early preparation bootcamp, which I have mentioned that I'll be doing in my manifesto as an initiative, this will provide you with enough time, with more time to be preparing for the upcoming inter-IIT, along with the mentorship from the alums, the seniors, as I mentioned. We also need, we are in dire need of an adversary team. Let me explain what an adversary team is. It basically does the task of scouting open public GitHub repositories from your own contingent, and later using these same skills to also find issues with the other teams participating in inter-IIT tech. So basically, this is different from forming a creators and media team. I would like to say that it is not allowed by the inter-IIT rulebook to have a proper, to essentially include more people than what is actually in the inter-IIT problem statement size. You can't have more people than let's say 6 in a problem statement. And if you have more than that, you will be straight up disqualified from that problem statement. So you can't have more just for the creators and this thing. You need to learn those skills, and the 6 people need to work on the problem statement.
Having been a part of PS myself, I do know the need, and it's not just IIT Bombay, different bigger IITs as well have much bigger teams unofficially than is actually required, than is actually stated by the rule book. And do you think with such a reduced capacity, we can still perform to the same extent?
I never said that I'm reducing the capacity. All I'm saying is that having a dedicated media team just defeats the entire point of participating in inter-IIT, because if you just publicize it very openly to all the IITs existing in India, that you are having more people to work for your problem statements than what is usually asked for or what is usually allowed, it defeats your point because you will be disqualified from almost all the problem statements you are participating in.
Alright.
You also mentioned
So, just a second, I'm so sorry. There is a factual correction here. Shrestha mentioned that you are elected as sub-division head of AUV. On the website of AUB, your own batchmates, Aniket and Jigar, are mentioned as electrical subdivision head, not you. I would like to bring to the notice of the Election Commission that exactly the words mentioned in my manifesto is what is verified by the current team lead of AUB. The point was raised because whatever was written in my manifesto was different from what you spoke here. That's all. And I request the EC that this is a factual correction. We are concluding the discussion now.
Yeah, so following up to our discussion, you said that you want to increase the PG and PhD participation in your problem statements by publicizing it more. So do you think that this PG participation is feasible because the amount of dedication which is required for participation in inter-IT tech is like a lot?
Yes, it is very much feasible because even if you look at this year, you have had a lot of PG participants, PG and PhD participants in inter-IT technique. I want to have them on board because of the fact that they are very experienced in this sort of a research approach which is what the inter-IT tech requires and demands. That is the reason that we are trying to inculcate them more, and the point about feasibility and having them on board. Yes, it has happened in the past and it can happen more in the future.
Alright, sure. So that's it from our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Insight, for the questions. Now we'll be moving ahead with the last section of the questioning part, the audience round. So we'll be allowing maximum of 10 questions. Whoever wants to question Veeraditya can form a line here. Whoever wants to question Suresh can form a line here right now. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
So, for your tech test one, I had a talk with both the previous sources and the current doses. The current doses, have you had a talk with them yet?
Yes, I have had.
You have had a talk with both the current doses.
I have had the relevant groundworks with the TechFest OC. Not both of them, but I have approached one TechFest OC who are both equal in operational and everything. Basically, their position is similar. So that is what I have done in groundworks.
You have approached both the previous OCs, right?
I never said that.
You have approached both the OCs, like
Please don't state false facts.
the current OCs are elected. You know about that.
The current OCs, as in the new OCs,
No.
they have been elected post everything related to our black box and everything was done. Approximately a couple of days before, only that they have been elected. Yes, I am aware of that.
So you have had a talk with them.
Well, they were not the OCs back then, and you are usually not let out with the information as who is going to be the new OC. So this is the situation we are dealing with right now. What's your point?
So with the previous OCs, you said you had a talk with whom?
I am not supposed to name people.
Okay, so I had a talk with them and they said like you were like hosting competition together. So can you speak more about what you are planning on that?
TechFest usually does a lot of technical competitions, and that is what we are trying to do. Like all the domains that TechFest covers, as well as ITC covers, we can have a collaboration over there. We can have software as well as hardware competitions. That's what we are trying to achieve.
Guys, I would like to specify, just come and ask the questions, the specific questions. After the answer of candidate, if you have anything to ask, you can ask a maximum of one rebuttal, okay? Yeah, a question for me.
Okay. So basically, we in manifesto, I have just seen one thing. So in the manifesto, there are 5 points. Your tech room guidelines, your EVH guidelines, your pan-ITC tech, your after-event pipelines, and your all-ITC magazines. All 5 of these pointers, when seen from at least the point of view of a person who has gone through all of these kind of processes that happen at black box, SoapBox and everything, Don't you think all of these pointers are one-day initiatives that should not have, quite frankly, gone out of the black box?
Okay, so now coming to the point, initiative here is not just based on effort, it's just based on impact, and these have a very good impact among students, and that's why those points are there. All the points are catering to very good impact, and that's why they're there. Doesn't matter how much time they take to complete.
Okay, so I want an answer from you on this second question then. You've gone through the SECI and manager process, same as me, same, a lot of people here. So do you think this was a pattern that was seen in all of these all of these black box and SoapBox?
Ramesh, come to the question.
Yeah, wherein a lot of pointers were cut just on the basis of the fact that these can be done within a day, within 15 minutes of by someone who is currently in power.
No, not really. Even in our black boxes, we are focusing only on impact, not on the effort that is going through. If there is a good impact, we let the points stay.
Very clear guideline. You come on stage, ask your question, the candidate answers, you ask your rebuttal, it is all. No need to respond to the audience, no need to give extra remarks.
Hello, hi Shirish. So I've gone through your manifesto. I have looked at this point, which is enable remote participation for tech teams recruitments via an online protocol. So in this, I want to understand what would the process be? Will it be completely remote? Will it be hybrid, or just remote for only some exceptional cases? And after you explaining the process, I want to understand the motivation behind it, because it does not align with whatever was happening in the past years.
This exact question was asked by Insight, and I have answered in detail. I would repeat it if you want to. The online recruitment protocol is in a hybrid mode. It's a sort of like initiative where if the tech team wants to have the test online, they can. If they want to have an assignment online, they can. If they want to have interviews later on, they can. This is the kind of flexibility that we are providing with this initiative. What is your exact question again?
So I just want to understand, like, if it is you're giving flexibility to tech teams, it is already happening. Currently, tech teams are taking online tests, online interviews whenever they require. That is what is already happening. What is new in this?
The new part over here is the applicant tracking system, where all the applicants of a certain tech team in a certain basically subdivision or something, they are. This is a better management system, and that's what is new, and that's what will help in the tech team recruitments as well as the selection process.
Hello. Hi. So I had a question in the second point of the highlights. Team travel funds, you intend to provide travel funds to tech teams to reduce the cost. Now, as a tech team lead myself, I'm pretty skeptical about this actually happening. Since in the last 10 years itself, there were no orientations which were happening. I myself, as a new tech team, have not been mentioned on the Tech IIT website yet. It's been over a year. And you say that you will be able to bring funds for tech teams, and that too for travel. That is a particular category which companies hesitate to invest because they don't find incentives. How do you intend to provide funds to the team, and how impactful will they be? Like a team on average, as you said, spends 1 to 1.5 CR on international events. And if you don't provide them with a substantial amount, how do you, justify the benefits which you will provide from this one?
Could you just please summarize at least in 1 or 2 questions? You said a lot of things. Okay, so I'll try to answer all of the questions that you mentioned. First one being, you mentioned that how will I bring these sponsorship in? I have spoken to companies, and they are more than willing to sponsor all the tech teams as a title sponsor, because in return, these are big companies. They in return want branding for their company, branding on their hoodies, branding on their rovers, branding on their cars, etc. So this is what they are looking for. You said that you are not being mentioned on the website. That also I am trying to cater to. I have a point of revamping the ITC website so that it becomes a single source of information of all ITC related things. I am trying to cater to that as well. Thirdly, you mentioned how impactful will this be. This will be very impactful because if teams can get funding for this travel, there will be more retention in the team because people will be more willing to stay in the team because they're getting some international exposure. Secondly, there will also be more people traveling there. Then we'll have more people working on site there. So this will also enhance our performance in the competition.
I don't think you have answered my question yet. What my question was that how impactful will these fundings be? You mentioned that you will get fundings, and I also said that usually companies are skeptical about this. Don't you think the tech teams already try this? They do approach the companies, they do promise whatever you just said, that we'll brand you on our hoodies, on our car, let's say for racing and all. They will do all of that. They do get funds from that as well. So why is it that ITC is taking up this initiative? Sure, it will help the tech teams, but how impactful? Like, can you tell me a amount or a percentage that you can fund?
I'm not allowed to disclose the amount, but I'll tell you how impactful this will be. A single tech team reaching out to a company is less impactful than all the tech teams or the entire ITC as a whole reaching out to a company. Because then they're having a lot of scope in different tech teams that they can go to. A single tech team is more difficult to get sponsorships from a company. So this will be impactful. We are at least trying to reimburse the entire cost of tech team travel. But if not, we are at least trying to get a major chunk of it reimbursed.
Yeah, so this is regarding the fourth point of your first section of the manifesto. It states that you want to promote the domain of semiconductor design and manufacturing through awareness sessions, hands-on workshops and talks. So firstly, the awareness sessions and talks happen through SoapBox IIT Bombay under the Electrical Engineering Department. And the hands-on workshops, first of all, I do not know how you are going to do hands-on workshops of semiconductor manufacturing, which the country on the whole is putting enormous effort into and enormous funds into, and they are still struggling to achieve this. And whatever aspect of this is achievable is already being done by Affairs IIT, which is also working under SoapBox. What part of this is your initiative, and have you done any groundwork that can tell you the problems in this and the reason why this has been tried by ITC bodies before and has failed to do?
Sure. Coming to your question point by point, what new am I trying to achieve here? Semiconductor design and manufacturing, as you just said yourself, is a domain that is being anyways promoted by the Indian government, by the bodies, by IIT administration, everyone. What we need to do is that we need to engage more and more people in this domain. It's an aspirational point and it has a lot of impact on ground by incorporating people from various new domains, not just the electrical department, electrical engineering department of IIT Bombay, not just SEMIEX, not just Hackerfab. Regarding groundworks that you asked, yes, I have done relevant groundworks with the people in the organizations you just mentioned, and these sort of workshops and talks and everything are something that they are willing to do, and they are willing to do at a larger scale in collaboration with ITC.
Firstly, I think you misunderstood the question because I said have you done groundworks with ITC bodies which have tried to do this before and failed in it for their reasons. And like you mentioned, Hackerfab, SEMIEX and Center of Nanoelectronics, they don't do this only for electrical engineering students, they also do it for all over the institute. So what is your contribution regarding this? It ends up being in the first section of your manifesto, but there is no contribution from your side. So what do you aim to do in this?
There is a contribution from my side, because if you see at the newer companies that are getting incorporated in ITB Research Park, well, I'm not allowed to name those companies by their name, but at the same time, those companies are also willing to contribute into these. We need to make sure and we need to bring in initiatives that are using that sort of an infrastructure, that sort of a funding from such established places. And regarding the point of your groundworks with the relevant ITC bodies, yes, I have done groundworks with the relevant ITC clubs and their managers.
All the best.
Hi, I want to ask a question about your very first manifesto point, that is make institute GPU servers accessible to students for computational workloads. First of all, as far as I know, institute GPU servers are only the ones which are maintained by the CC. And to get access to those, it's a very big process where I need to get permissions from the professor and all. And there's also already a lag going on right now. Now you have mentioned that the institute GPUs access for all. How do you make sure that all the students get access? irrespective of their being a part of a tech team or tech club or anything like that. Let's say I want to do an open project and I want access to that. So how will you make sure that I get that from an institute GPU, which is, I'll mention it again, the institute GPUs are handled by the CC.
Okay, so firstly, there are a few of the CC servers are also available for student use. We just need faculty approval to use them. Secondly, we also have more sources of GPUs being set up in the institute. There are servers that are going to be set up in PL that will be open for student usage. And then thirdly, we also have companies setting up servers in the institute that they want to provide for student usage. And fourthly, we'll be providing, for overload, we'll be providing access through ITC Cloud Compute that we will include in our budget. Now, how will we provide this to everyone? We will do this via an online protocol. This is not going to be physical GP that we will provide to students. You can go onto a portal where you can log in and probably put down your code which you want to use. You can mention the time that you will be using it for, and we allocate that much time to you. If you have a larger workload, we'll probably shift this to the professor server so that they can go check for whether you're doing something correct or not, so that faculty approval is required. If it's a smaller workload, we'll then put it to either the PL servers or the company servers, or we'll provide ITC Cloud Compute.
Alright, but as far as what I know, apart from that, handled by the CC, none of the other GPU servers which you mentioned would be termed as institute GPU servers, as you mentioned in your manifesto point. And the second thing, as you know, the companies don't come and set up their servers. See, look, I'm a marketing head at an IB institute, and I know company will never do anything that they don't get something out of it. So if they provide their GPU servers, so for students to do projects on their own, what is the company getting out of it? I mean, why would they do it?
There are companies which want to collaborate with ITC. They have set up servers in the institute. They are collaborating with ITC for hackathons, for competitions, who want to then provide these GPUs for even the competition. And after that also, because after the competition, these GPU servers will be just staying there for waste. So what they want to do is, after the hackathon competition, they'll be providing this on a queuing and booking system, like I told you, via an online protocol, to students who can then use it afterwards as well.
So Shresh, you mentioned that regarding the semiconductors point, we took groundwork from the relevant ITC clubs. The only relevant club regarding semiconductors in ITC is ERC, and you haven't taken groundwork regarding this point from the current and the past managers of ERC. So they deny that. I would like to bring to the notice of EC that this is false and this is a misinformation from their side. I have conducted relevant groundworks. I can show you your notes, and as well as I can show you a verified groundworks mail that I have taken from those from the ERC managers. I have an objection from him standing on the stage because it's not allowed. I just said they have denied this. I am not remarking this as a factual correction. Alright, fine. And I pointed out this because this was regarding both the current managers and both the previous managers. Okay.
Alright.
So, yeah, last question for Shresh.
Okay, what is the point of constructing an observatory shed when Kritika already has a conveniently positioned room in H14 next to the terrace, perfectly situated for its operation? Doesn't this directly contradict the strategic decisions taken by multiple Kritika managers and GSTAs of multiple tenures to select H14 as the optimal location? However, you made a point that girls cannot be allowed to attend any events in the Kritika Observatory post 10 p.m. But the observatory can be operated remotely once the initial setup is done. And we are making an ongoing purchase to transport the observatory and make it portable, which solves the issue from the root. Did you realize this? I don't think so, since you didn't do a singular momentary groundwork with me.
Well, it is you who has verified your groundworks mail. Apart from that, I would like to bring your notice that this exact question was asked by Insight and I have answered in detail. During my groundworks with you as the Kritika manager, you have brought this to my notice that there is a need for a dedicated observatory shed for the Kritika's equipments as they are heavy and they need to be transported right now, which is a very, very big hassle, and that's the reason why to house your equipment and make it very, very safe for you to operate as well as for those expensive equipment to keep them from getting damaged. This sort of a shed is required.
Okay, first of all, I would like to state that you have done one singular groundwork with me, which lasted for only 5 to 10 minutes, and based on that, your entire manifesto point is there. Secondly, these expensive equipments are currently stored in H14 in a really safe room, which is being locked by our own lock. So I don't see any point what you are making.
Well, I request the EC to please check on these facts because it did not last for 5 to 10 minutes. It was a longer groundwork. As far as your question is concerned, in your groundworks, it was you who stated this requirement, and I have done enough, background check for this fact that it is a requirement, and that's what I'm trying to solve here over here. Even a single groundwork is enough to get a point.
Okay, last question from the audience, and that's for Veeraditya.
Hello. Yes, Veeraditya, I just want to ask, why do you think there is a need of this Freshie Tech League? We already have competitions such as Accelerate and the RC and how do you believe that you will manage the funds for these kind of competitions? These will not be free, right? And the competitions that are currently in place are team-based competitions that anyone from the hostels in sort of groups are able to contest in, which have better competition and have more people who can participate in. So why do you think there is a need for this? And how will the mentors work in this? And how will you manage these structures? How do you structure them structure these orientation into the freshers social competition that we have mentioned here?
Okay, first of all, why is this necessary? Currently, all the orientations happen separately in ITC, whereas compared to other bodies like ISC and ICC, they have a combined competition, like Prestige and Prestigesta. We are trying to create that sort of environment in ITC also, that also present ITC as a united front to freshers. And apart from that, this will help freshers take part in different domains, because since we are introducing the hostel-based competition, they will have the excitement to go to other events for their hostel points, because freshers in general are very excited for their hostel. Secondly, you said how many mentors will take part. This is dependent on how many registrations we get for the Freshie Tech League, but we are expecting around a 6:1 ratio for mentees to mentor. You also said funding. There is no external funding required in this. Orientations are anyways already happening for students. This is just clubbing all those orientations into a single initiative called the Freshie Tech League.
Yes, but as you said, the funding, but if you are structuring a competition for these kind of tech events, such as the Accelerate and RC competition that I have mentioned, these require funding. Will you be eliminating these, or will you be able to incorporate?
Yes, Accelerate and RC Plane won't be a part of the Freshie Tech League since they already run for a very long period of time. We cannot include these in the Freshie Tech League. We are trying to keep the league compact for around a time of 2 to 2.5 weeks. The Accelerate happens for a very long time, like 1 month in the blackout period. So that's why we're not including Accelerate and RC Plane for the same reason.
Okay, thank you everyone for the questions. Now we'll move on to the last part of today's SoapBox, which is the closing statement of the GSTA candidates. We'll start with Sri Keshri. You have a maximum of 3 minutes to conclude your statement.
I want to thank you all for your time and attention today. I have shared my roadmap, and now the decision rests with you. I would request you all to please go through the candidate manifestos and take an informed decision in this democratic election process. Let's build a tech culture that truly thrives. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.
Thank you, Suresh. We move on with the closing statement of Veeraditya. You have a maximum of 3 minutes.
Thank you everyone for your time. I'll close with one simple belief. IIT already has a talent. The job of ensuring leadership is to make sure that talent translates into outcomes. Outcomes in the form of stronger resources, smoother project pathways, and a tech ecosystem where builders can move fast and builders can enter without friction. My focus will be execution, clear systems, transparent processes, and results that students can actually see throughout the year, not just announcements. And at the same time, I want Institute Tech to feel approachable and supportive. And for IIT, the message is straightforward. We have what it takes with better structure and preparation. We will not just show up, rather we will move towards the goal that we aim. Let's build an ITV where access is strong, process is reliable, and performance becomes inevitable, and where output speaks for itself. Thank you, make an informed decision.
Thank you, Aditya. With this, we are concluding the SoapBox for General Secretary Technical Affairs. Thank you everyone for attending the SoapBox. Please make an informed choice in the election.